Hello, and I hope this works. I'm going to start my stream right now, and well, there's some bloop, and I don't know what that is. Just Fastodon. Going to mute that. Great. So I'm going to talk about and let me show you something here. Talk about this, the pboot demo image. Also make sure, of course, to check out my latest now I'm hearing myself, which is really annoying, so I'm just going to mute that up, but at least it sounds fine, unlike last time. Okay. Okay, I've got this annoying delay here. And I don't know if it echoes through or where it comes from. Oh, I know it. Sorry. Now I'm fine. Okay. I hope the stream is fine for you guys too, and I'll just try and start doing stuff here. And this is the wrong screen to be on, right? I should be on the other screen, or okay, so now this is my postmarketOS Community Edition PinePhone, which I just accidentally started, and I'm now risking my Arch Linux ARM install here, because you got to risk something, right? But we're going to look at this thing here, the PinePhone multi-distro demo image, which contains basically a ton of distributions, and that makes it quite interesting, I think. So yeah, what's this going to be about? Let's just see. So there's plenty I could talk about, and I see that. Sorry, this is really a bad setup. I would really need a second display, but I don't have one yet. Or I've got a display link screen, but I think it's at my girlfriend's and whatever. So I have to do it like this, and that's not great for OBS. But let's focus on the pboot image. So this is the second PinePhone multi-distro demo image released by Megi. Oh, I don't know, maybe there's been one before. And this here is pboot. So pboot supports allows you to multi-boot distributions like you would do on your computer with grub. You've got this menu where you can go through via the volume buttons, and what's new is, for example, this feature, boot via bootloader on eMMC, which I think is a pretty good one. And now it timed out again, which is great because that means you don't have to open your back. You can just leave it in there and you know, keep just boot to your normal OS whenever you need. And when you then are like, oh, I want to try something different, like I want to access files on my phone, you can go to Jump Drive, or if you want to try that, yeah, one of these other distros, you can do that anytime after any boot, and that can be quite convenient, I think. Then there is this other new one here, privacy mode, which basically switches off the camera, and I think, sorry, I need to take a sip here, and it timed out again. um, so where was I? I was down there. It disables the modem, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and the camera. I don't know whether it also disables the microphone. Let's just see if Megi wrote something about that. And yeah, so far for demos, the only annoying thing is yeah, doesn't tell me anything here about privacy mode, but I think it's so that it might actually even disable the microphone. We're just going to test that later. So there are two ArchLinux ARM images. The first one just has CLI, so we're not going to boot that. The second one is already outdated. It doesn't even have the swipe to close apps feature. So let's just see how maybe we could look at LuneOS, Maemo Leste. I think let's go with LuneOS for now. Sorry, I really need to figure out the way I'm holding the phone here. I've got can also, now that I think I've shown that web browser long enough, I'm just going to switch to the other cam I have here, and that is the desk cam. And so let's transition over to that. So great, now I can do whatever I want to on the screen here, and yeah. As you can see here, by the way, I'm going to try and demo convergence with this HP lapdog. And now LuneOS has started. It's yeah, my battery is pretty empty, which isn't good, but what you gonna do? I already have a third PinePhone battery, but I don't have the external charger yet. But the order from Pine64 is on the way, so I should receive that soon. Will make this a lot better. So yeah, I can search for a bunch of networks. Of course, I forgot to enable my little funny demo network here. Let me just briefly do that. I'm going to cut that out on the stream, on the stream recording. Oh god. Yeah, I don't find it. It must be somewhere. Sorry that this is so unorganized, but I really would have liked to start this stream hours ago, but in my original OBS setup I decided to go with snaps, because what can possibly go wrong? And guess what? Today when I tried to just was like, oh, let me start a live stream, let's start OBS, and it wouldn't start, period. Just wouldn't start. And so I tried to fix permissions, nothing, no dice, and well, yeah, eventually I went ahead and uninstalled OBS, reinstalled it, and then it worked, which is nice that it did that at least. And but of course then I had to reconfigure all my scenes and so on. I mean, I would have had to reconfigure some of them anyway, so it wasn't that bad, but yeah, it's not like I've got unlimited time on my hands, right? Okay, so now that little demo network should be on any second, then I can then try and connect to it. Here it is. And yeah, it's a really great passphrase, totally secure. Don't do that at home or elsewhere. And yeah, so this image is using a 5.10 RC5 kernel for all these distros. And okay, done. So that's pure LuneOS now, and it even seems to recognize my SIM card. Let me see if I can call it. Just lay it down there. And of course, I've never tried convergence or connecting an external screen to LuneOS. So that's interesting too. Now it's calling, this thing here is calling my Pine phone, but doesn't seem to ring yet, right? Yeah. Nothing. Okay, so that doesn't work. But then again, I think their normal stock image is using a different version anyway. I'm not going to test whether I can dial out now, because I think this distribution is not something that you would normally use. Anyway, it has a pretty decent web browser. I would like some fonts, and then sometimes it does this. Just goes to standby for no good reason. That happened to me when I reviewed an older image too, so yeah. And this card-based multitasking experience is pretty nice. It's the same as it was on the Palm Pre, which I unfortunately don't have handy here. But yeah, let's just try something else for now. I think there are 2 terminals installed, calendar app, but I don't know. Generally, apps selection is quite limited, and it's not stable enough, so I wouldn't recommend running it. I think I will need to look at it again, maybe early next year. Make another video to follow up on my earlier one. Okay, so let's just try and shut this down. Okay, shut down. And Isaac Nix in the chat asks whether I could try calling on Plasma Mobile. Which Plasma Mobile image do you mean? Actually, and I can't test SMS period because I've got 2 phones here serving as recording cameras, and I just don't have enough SIM cards right now to write an SMS or to check whether one goes in. In this video with the P-boot demo, Isaac, or should I try it with KDE Neon in general? Because I'm going to make a video tomorrow once the Plasma Mobile blog post is out, what they're going to ship on their PinePhone Community Edition on one of these Plasma Mobile distributions anyway, and I think I'm going to try and demo stuff there. So, but okay, good. So I will just boot into KDE Neon then, because hey, if there's one person in the chat and that person requests something, I'm just going to continue with that. So let's see how that works. Oh, I forgot to test plugging it into this dock. while on LuneOS, but I suppose that would likely have not worked anyway. So, but I can try that with KDE Neon. Okay, there we are. And I really should plug it in because the battery is almost gone. This glitch is well known here. Oh, I think I should have unlocked it first. Let me just... Okay, now it shuts down again. So let's redo that all. So KDE Neon for the PinePhone is generally something I would not really recommend in daily use, because it's currently more of a developer image, or it's totally a developer image because everything is, yeah. Oh, it's 111 here, I think. Okay. Who says hot plugging won't work, huh? Okay. Maybe it actually crashes. Great thing is this boots so fast. We can try a million times, but yeah. So plugging it in at boot doesn't seem to work either. So let's just go and have a look at this without this experience. And let me just plug in the PinePhone into power so that it can maybe charge a bit. Okay. So here we are. Let's try KDE Neon briefly, and then move on to a distribution that is actually worth it. That's is not supposed to be a diss on KDE or something. It has its purpose, but really shouldn't use it as a normal user. Don't try to daily that. It will break on you all the time. Really don't. Don't know whether it's still starting or it's... Maybe I broke it because of plugging in the dock at the wrong time. it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, which I think is even harder because you have to actually count. Can't just press numbers. But that's Megi's choice, so yeah. Well, now here we are, and I think that's quite nice. The SIM card doesn't seem to be recognized at all, actually. I could try to get into my Wi-Fi network. Let's see if screenshots work. Oh yeah, they do. It's great. So let's go to Wi-Fi. There are too many Wi-Fi networks around here. That's really crazy. Okay, now the connection is activated. And okay, now it's starting Boohoo, and it may connect to the dock. Yeah, it's starting it there. Nice. So now, where do I have a mouse cursor? Do I have a mouse cursor? It's there. And now it crashed again. I don't think that Ophono is generally unstable. Does quite a good job on phones with Ubuntu Touch, for example, that are Android based and use Helium or other hacks to run. Well, I shouldn't call Helium a hack. Yeah, but okay. So KDE Neon, I think we've done that now. I will give up on that. So another interesting one is Maemo Leste. As far as I know, the Ophono issues with Ubuntu Touch are mostly due to stuff like Crust, and that other phones don't do that they shut down so completely. And then Ophono has trouble waking up again. So this is Maemo Leste, which is the OS that or is the continuation of Maemo 5, which ran on the N900. This here is good old original Maemo here, and this is Maemo Leste. As you can see, it has fewer apps. It has a few apps here in that Debian category, and if you install a random app from the terminal, that one will likely also appear there. They don't have a phone dialer app yet or an SMS app, but they recently added a calendar app, so that's, by the way, a quite nice one. And I think I've got another phone running Maemo Leste here. Yeah. Of course, it's not booted. Oh, it is booted, but it's booted in the wrong system. Great. Yeah. Had to use my preparation time on fighting snaps today. Yeah, that's the calendar. It shows you the week. So this is we are in week 49, I guess. Yeah. Then like this, I can add a new event in next year, Friday, November 12th, and let's see if that keyboard is. Oh no, it's not not activated by default, I think. So you have to go into the settings app here with Maemo Leste and text input, use virtual keyboard. It should be there. Maybe it's only there on second boot or something. Sometimes this stuff is a bit strange. Let's just see if it works on the terminal. Yeah, there it comes up. So apparently the keyboard does not work with that calendar app, which is, well, the camera app is Qt based. This likely isn't, so maybe that plays a role. But since many of Maemo Leste's supported devices are devices with hardware keyboards, this is something that maybe wasn't caught yet. But they are very much in development. It's a nice project, and I like what they're doing. It's really, I mean, you can say why bother with that, but it's a current dev one, and they are generally running current kernels, mainline, and RAM use is really impressive. Look at that. On the PinePhone with 3 GB of RAM, it's at 2.85 gigabytes, and here on that thing it's way less. I think it's at 150, but it only has 1 GB of RAM, so it shouldn't use too much, right? Yeah. Well, Ophono is something working. I really don't know why it's having those issues, but I heard that Crust would be an issue on Ubuntu Touch. So let's see what whether that works at all, or whether something happens. Maybe I would have to use some xrender commands or something to make this work. Oh, uses the speaker of the lapdog. Yeah, whatever. I'll stop this. Sorry for that. Okay. Now, yeah, that's it on the Droid 4. How do I increase brightness again? It's quite nice. I installed some apps here and they mostly work. So if you've got one of these old devices, something to try there. But let's continue with pboot and the PinePhone. So next up, we've got, well, maybe Manjaro Plasma for a change. Oh, damn it. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. There it is. Okay. It's wrong. Maybe it's... Yeah. So again, Ophono is having connectivity issues here apparently. Maybe it's related to Megi's kernel, because I know that it generally worked, Ophono worked almost fine. I mean, it has had issues all the time, but it generally worked on the .64 kernel branch back in the day, which Ubuntu Touch still uses. So sometimes stuff breaks, and then people have to hunt to fix it. That's why the Linux phones are so much fun, because you never know what works and what doesn't. And I mean that in a good way. So that's the calculator. I think it got an overhaul since I last tried that. And KDE Connect, Keysmith, NeoShared. NeoShared is quite nice. It's a matrix client. And I think they are going to support encryption eventually, if they don't do yet, which is quite the important feature, and it's really native to Plasma Mobile. So stuff like that's always nice to see. But let me just try connecting the laptop here, see what happens. Okay, that's looking fairly good, I think. Increase brightness, and let's just hold, add a widget, and display configuration, and then we can choose something like this. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. What's that? Yeah, like this, it's only the laptop screen, which generally makes it more usable, because the other one is glitching out anyway. So yeah, let me move that a bit so I can maybe fully see it. So it still has these indicators, so NeoChat is still running, and oh god, by the way, I hate the touchpad of this thing. It's quite bad actually. Yeah, and this is the multitasking view like this, but can also normally you can Alt Tab. Think. Yeah, that looks really familiar from Plasma Desktop. And you can also use KRunner. Alt and space, there it is. It's a little slower, of course. Terminal, okay. It should start now. And then, yeah. There's this bug where it says it would disable the virtual keyboard on connecting this device, but then the virtual keyboard is always there. But once you type something, it goes away. So just see kernel release here, 5.10 RC5, and let's just see how much RAM this uses with all these. Oh, let's use top. Yeah, only 400 megabytes free, but only about a gigabyte used, and the rest is buffered. So that's fine, I think. Okay, now here I have my mouse cursor, so let me close some of those apps. And see how it's now. So now it's just 150 megabytes less unused. Okay, I think that's fine. But honestly, Plasma Mobile in this mode, sure, I would prefer to have a classic desktop interface whenever I dock it. so that I've got just that normal bar there at the bottom and windows with borders and stuff. And I'm not sure whether you can't really, whether it's really impossible to enable that, but yeah, I mean, come on, it's fine. It's works better as a makeshift desktop than Phosh does. So maybe let's just stop this and try another distro. Because I don't know how to reboot here, I'm just going to use the terminal. Bam. Okay, here we are again. So what can I test next? So we've got all these postmarketOS builds here. Interestingly, one is Plasma Desktop. I'm going to look at that. Mobian. Well, I don't know. Is that really interesting? Yeah, let's go with Mobian maybe, and then or maybe Manjaro Phosh. Let me try Manjaro Phosh because I haven't run Manjaro Phosh in a while. This is not the latest beta. This is beta 2, and they've since released beta 3. Also, there's no Manjaro Lumiri on this pboot image. So I really hope that that would get added to the next one because it's a nice demo too. So yeah, okay, swipe up to unlock and then enter the passcode 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still pretty slow, but it's the first start, so that's fair. And modem manager recognizes a SIM card and tells me that I've got LTE network here. Time is off, but yeah, so let's go with English. Let's configure my network. Yeah. And here you can add your online accounts, even Facebook, Microsoft, Google. I only ever tried Nextcloud actually. Don't know why that is. Maybe because I'm a privacy nut or something. Yeah, and that's that. They're using a different icon set. It's not the Advaita icon set, but something different. But I'm really not sure what it is. Is it NuMix or something? I've seen that before, but I don't theme anymore. I'm too old for that shit. And this is GNOME disks, which I think I should add to LINMOB apps, my app list, because it's apparently really working on mobile. So you can use GNOME disks to write something to your eMMC2 if you want to do that, or from eMC to SD card on the PinePhone. You could do that. That would be a totally self-contained PinePhone system then. But let's just try something else and connect this. here. Okay. So that works nicely, I think. Yeah, now, of course, this way it's not really that useful. Whether it's on such a laptop thingy or whether you're using the convergence dock with your real monitor. So there's a section here, should be a section somewhere in here, but it isn't there on that version yet. There's it on we will need to start Mobian, I see, because it has that display section here, and then you can easily switch screens. Like this, you can move the apps over by pressing Super Shift and then the arrow key, and then you've got it on this screen too. Also, there's windowed mode and dock mode. Okay, it's dock mode already. So tells me about software updates. Yeah, I think they fixed a lot of this in beta 3 according to the update, so it isn't, there's no problem that this doesn't really work great. But let's just reboot. I mean, I could try whether it rings, but let me just dial on this dinky little telephone here. Yay, it's ringing, and the sound is coming out of this thing. And apparently, oh yeah, now I can select the call screen, but I can't really. That's a fun bug. Great. So, oh, now I missed the call. Yeah, really. Who could have known? Yeah. That's more stuff to be ironed out, but yeah. So I'm going to reboot again. And disconnect the dock briefly. Sorry, Patrick, if you're having a hard time hearing me. I have real issues with my voice. I'm really trying to not cough all the time, and that's why I'm speaking very silently. I can boost my audio a bit, but that is likely only going to make it worse for your ears when I then actually cough, which may happen any minute, fortunately. So sorry for that, but I wish I could just take a magic pill and this health issue would go away, but yeah, that's not how the world works. Okay, Mobian is next. No problem, you don't need to be sorry. So this is Mobian. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I started that before and skipped the first one with it. Let me just briefly connect it to Wi-Fi first, and then connect it to the dock. Okay. there's the welcome screen there. That one always takes a bit, and I'm really too impatient for it. So, while we're in Settings app, let's go somewhere else, and that's the display panel. And then we can choose the primary display, which should be HDMI-A-1. Apply that, and then it should be all on there. And because this plug is so terrible, doesn't work anymore apparently. That's, I don't know if that's just my Pine phone, but I don't think it's really that USB cable. It's my second one for this purpose, and the Pine phone doesn't seem to be very good at connecting for good. Okay, let's go to settings again, and then maybe switch off that second screen, the phone screen entirely. Single display, choose the right screen, hit apply, and boom. Of course now both screens are still on, so that worked brilliantly, but somehow this is now the primary device. Whatever. Yeah, we can try megapixels, but that won't work right now. I could try the front camera. Oh, it crashed. Okay. Let's briefly try Firefox, and maybe King's Cross, which is the terminal, which is a hilarious joke because King's Cross is the terminus of some famous railroad in Britain. But honestly, I think it's really a bad decision to call it like that, because new users always are like, well, there's no terminal on Mobian. Why is this even Linux? And then I really think that should be changed. Just give it a normal terminal. I can call it terminal, for God's sake. Yeah. So here you can see arrows to those things to close the window. What do you call them? Buttons, right? And let's try top because that's always installed. Yeah. So it uses with Firefox running, with the settings menu running. It's about at 924 megs used, which I think it's fine. Right, Matt. It's not a Pinebook Pro. It's more Pinebook with a high-res screen. Weird Pinebook with 2 screens and 3 GB of RAM. Yeah. Yeah, light websites work well. And yeah. Apparently scrolling doesn't really properly work here with my touchpad. I think it worked on Arch Linux ARM, but yeah. Something's always breaking. And that's convergence, how it now also works the same way on the latest release of Arch Linux ARM by Danknix, or Dreamers, Arch Linux ARM Dreamers as it's called here, and also on Manjaro Beta 3. So this is actually quite useful. You don't have any indicator for Alt tab, which is annoying. And if you press the super key, nothing happens. So to start a new app, you always have to tap that button bar and then type something here. Would be nice to have a quicker way to launch apps generally, but I'm sure that Purism will eventually implement that. Okay. So I don't have much time anymore because I'll be getting a visit soon, but I think I've got like 15 more minutes left. Didn't shut down properly yet, apparently. Now it's coming up again. Oh no! I guess I booted into that, yeah. I don't know why Megi puts that image on there. It's really, as a first image, it's quite useless. I mean, you can, of course, install anything, like go ahead and install XFCE or something crazy and then use that as your phone, because you're like, hey, well, I won't demo Sailfish and SXMO, Sample X Mobile, because I relatively recently did videos on those. But let's have a look at Ubuntu Touch here before we get into postmarketOS, where I'm going to demo the GNOME and the KDE variants. So while that's starting, where do I have that thing here? I've got another device with Ubuntu Touch on it. Looks like this. Has a fingerprint reader, and yeah, it's called Yggdrasil. But it's not booted, so sorry for that. I can't really show anything there right now, except this launch screen. I might do a video on that sometime, but well, it's not running a mainline kernel, so I'm not that interested into it actually, but I might try to daily drive it. But first I'm going to have to daily drive the PinePhone, because I want to try that briefly before I'm going to write and publish a post that how my experience with the PinePhone has been in the first half a year, and yeah, that's going to be published on, I don't know, October. So let's type Berlin here. Okay, there, so that I'm in my time zone, because otherwise we'll be all confused. Choose a device name. Just call it Megi Ubuntu Touch. Passcode. And here apparently Phono seems to work, so maybe that's just a Plasma mobile image issue on this demo image by Megi, because earlier when I demoed Plasma Mobile, the modem wouldn't really seem to work. Yeah, let's briefly see whether it rings. I'm not really going to call anyone here. Something. Okay. That seems to work. Let's answer. And I'm going to hang up here because, well, yeah. Let's see if the camera works, but I doubt it. Barely works anyway, even with the Ubuntu kernel. No, does not work yet, and there's no megapixels or something installed. So you won't have a camera on this image. But honestly, given the overall performance of the PinePhone camera, unless you're really lucky, that's almost fine, I think, for now. Though, of course, megapixels is impressive, and I sometimes see incredible images, and then I look at the shots I take with the same current version of megapixels, and it's all grainy, so I don't... Maybe I'm just unlucky and I've got a dodgy device here. Great. Now let me connect to Wi-Fi first, and then okay, it's connected, and now let's see what the convergence dock does with this. Not convergence dock, what my HP Elite 3 X3 laptop thingy does. Okay, now it says USB headphones, so I guess that's this thing. That's my USB headphones. And it's charging, but that's apparently all. So let's go to the settings app. Is there? No. Yeah, I can't really do any screen setting stuff here. Can update some apps. And honestly, with mobile connectivity working, I would need to have to test if phone calls actually work. Yeah. John, thanks for that. How do you have a link on how to install that extra settings to enable convergence? Because I've been trying that out on this thing here too, and it wouldn't work either. So on Yggdrasil. So I'm not really sure how to install that setting. Thanks. So yeah, I can use the touchpad, but I can't move up. Okay, yeah. Generally, I think, honestly, this might be one of the best Ubuntu Touch experiences right now on the PinePhone, if it works long term, so on, which is a huge if, let me just say that, but generally it's quite nice. Okay, yeah, the browser, Morph browser, is really nice, and with these 60 frames per second fixes in the kernel, Ubuntu Touch is really quite smooth and looks like it's worth a try. I'm really looking forward to when they managed to move on to a newer kernel than their current 5.6. But they want to do it real proper, and that takes time. So yeah. Great, so I'm just going to restart here. Interesting to see a systemd lognd message on Ubuntu Touch. That's interesting. Oh, the UT tweak tool. Okay. Great. I think I've got it installed on this phone, but I'm going to try that later. Sorry for that. Let's keep focused on this because there's still 2 more things to go through at least. So let's first start Plasma Desktop on postmarketOS. Also, I've been recently asked to demo Plasma Big Screen because that's available on postmarketOS too. If there's any interest in that, please let me know, because I was at first like, oh yeah, okay, but why? But maybe that's just me, and if there's general interest in that, I'm of course happy to demo it. Okay, yeah, that's tough to log in here. Now the keyboard isn't really properly recognized, so 111. Let's close it and open it again. Okay. No. That unfortunately doesn't seem to work for me right now. So I will just reboot and boot into GNOME. And then that's it, unless you've got something else you would want to see. I don't know which one of my phones is making that noise here, sorry for that. So waiting for GNOME here. Oh, cursor, that's good. Linux user. Okay, that's GNOME. And now let's try to connect this. Oh, this cable is really draining me the wall. Okay, so apparently that looks like it's a mirrored mode. Yeah. Or maybe that dock just crept up and went to, because it sometimes does that, and it just shows everything in VGA resolution, which is, yeah, not what anyone wants. Don't know if that's a known bug, but it's a known bug for me with the Pine phone. Can tell you that. Okay, this looks slightly better. I'm just going through this like that, and okay. Yeah, let's disconnect this. But as you can see, GNOME is really good at handling multiple screens compared to those newer mobile desktops. If you want to call them desktops, I mean, just a shell, isn't it? Okay. Next, skip. Done. Okay, let's enjoy postmarketOS here. And oh god, what's that? Welcome. No, I don't want to have a tour, because I should know GNOME from using it daily. Yeah, so that doesn't work, so let me try to open the test settings up like that. And if I then turn off that screen, should be fine. But I don't see that display settings thing. It's not in, it's in devices, right? Okay, good to know. Single display mode. Okay, apparently it thinks that the screen has 40 inches. And now let's keep the changes, and bam, we've got a GNOME desktop. And it's actually working quite nicely here. I mean, there's barely nothing pre-installed, but if I now run pk-u upgrade, I think it was, and type 111, can first upgrade. postmarketOS here. Oh, it fetches new kernel. I doubt that that might actually ruin the image, pboot image, if that kernel gets installed. So I'm not sure whether I should just stop that, but because this is the last thing I'm going to demo in this video, what can possibly go wrong? Is this GNOME terminal, by the way? Nope, that's KGX. So let's try to install something else. APK add GIMP, maybe LibreOffice. Don't know if that's the proper package name. The phone interface with GNOME is not good. As you could see, the apps when I tapped here would all go off screen. I've seen tweaks on the Mobian wiki to fix that, but I honestly I tried to go through it once and fix it for me, but I couldn't really figure it out when I had this installed on Mobian. So I'm going to install Firefox, LibreOffice and GIMP and start those, and then this video is hopefully done. Yeah, but if you want to use your PinePhone as a desktop after this session, I would say if you can tolerate GNOME, and I know there are some people that can't because it doesn't have a start menu and whatnot. I don't share these concerns personally. Then this is maybe a way to go. Otherwise, you could just build yourself a postmarketOS image with XFCE, which is surely going to be fine too, maybe, but virtual input could be a problem. But yeah, you could maybe get into building yourself a custom pboot image with one distribution that has a GNOME desktop and another one that has Phosh or whatever you like, or maybe something lighter, XFCE, Sway, so that you've got enough RAM there, and then use the system like that. Or just put one of those regular desktops on the SD card and take that with you and use it only when you want to do some work, because actually trying to do work with Phosh, it's something that I did, and it sort of works, but window management and, you know, just the convenience of tapping a key and then typing something and starting the app easily, that doesn't exist yet on Phosh, and therefore I would always recommend, if you really are serious about, like when you're on holidays and you take your Pine phone and your convergence truck with you, and there maybe a keyboard like this, and then somewhere you're at a place with a screen, then having an SD card with your files that you need and a proper desktop on it could be enough for some light work. Actually quite sure it would. So Firefox apparently is installed already, so let's try that. No, let me maybe go to pine64.org here. Oh god, Google. This privacy window there. Yeah, I know my audio is really quiet. I'm sorry for that. I had massive issues before starting this stream because my snap install of OBS Studio wouldn't work anymore, so I didn't really have time to get into all of this and fix it and make sure that I'm really audible, and also I've got a cough, so I don't want you to... I can't shout right now, I'm sorry. My voice is really effed up. I will try and cut this and make it available later with after working on the Audacity audio with Audacity. Yeah, stupid privacy shit here. I'm just going to accept that for now. So that works. Then maybe open Megi's page. p-boot-demo. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Firefox, it works. Of course it does work on GNOME, so let's just start top here. Maybe it's installed, yeah. Great, so that we see how we run out of RAM, and then let's try GIMP. By the way, you should know that I've got this blog and I do these weekly updates, but the more important thing in my mind right now, or has been for a while, is this apps list. It's not perfect, but you can contribute. There's even a link up here how you can do that, and please try to. That would really help a lot. So yeah, GIMP works just as it does on GNOME, just fine, I think. Yeah, we've got a canvas, and I could draw something. There's some lag, but yeah, again, fine, just fine, I think. And LibreOffice. Let's see, how much RAM is this using? Oh my god, those aren't really user readable numbers. 300 megabytes free, I would say. Tip of the day. Did you know? Yeah. Writing a fun letter works. So yeah, I will now shut down my PinePhone and briefly go through what's not on this image, and that is first of all, of course, Manjaro Lumiri, and then Nemo Mobile isn't on there. I did a video on Nemo Mobile earlier this month or late last month, so maybe try that, watch that video, and maybe download their stuff and try it. They are undergoing a transition over to a new base, being based on Fedora, and I'm really missing that in here because it could use some more attention, and being included in this pboot image would certainly help with that. So I really hope that Megi picks Nemo Mobile up for his next image. So thanks for watching. Sorry about being silent here in terms of audio. I will try to edit that in post and fix this silence. But yeah. Thanks for watching, and see you soon. Maybe for my next live stream sometime soon. Yeah. So have a nice week. Goodbye.